there's a quote from Jordan Peterson that I agree with, and I know that he's problematic. He's been inconsistent. There's issues with him, but he said a lot of brilliant things over the years. And one of the brilliant things that he said was, if you're afraid of what a strong man will do in leadership, just wait till you see what a weak man will do in leadership. And I think where we're at now is a situation in which the people that have a disproportionate amount of control of the levers of society are very weak people. They're the Alex Soroses and the Sam Altmans and this bizarre, eccentric, kind of autistic in a negative sense of the term, technocratic or gerontocratic class. And these are people who, I think in large, don't believe in God. They, like all humans, have a psychological need for a God. And so where in the 20th century, when humanity began to lose faith in God, it placed faith in governments, and this manifested in fascism in Italy, in Germany, and it manifested in communism in China and Russia, right? God is dead. That was the Nietzschean philosophy. Everyone's going to forget about God, but we have a psychological demand to fill that void. It created a power vacuum or a faith vacuum. And so what people did in mass was just replace God with the state because it was the next most powerful thing that people could fathom. And they just argued over which state was better, similar to how different religions throughout history have argued over which God was better. And I think right now what we're seeing is hold on a second. Right now what we're seeing is, all right, well, we shouldn't put our faith in communism or fascism, and we're this technocratic elite. We should put our faith in technology. And if we can own the technology, then we can own the new God. Like before, you couldn't own the state. You can't own the Nazi party. You can control it. You can't own the Communist Party. In communism, you can't even own anything whatsoever. But this is what's specifically unique about what we're experiencing now in the 21st century. We have an entire class of people, both as consumers, but specifically as the technocratic elite, that are trying to innovate, develop, manufacture, and engineer what they believe to be God, and they can own it. And it will be so present and so powerful in our lives that we, as the foolish people we are, will worship it as a false idol. We'll love it. I mean, if you think the statue of Baal was impressive in the Old Testament to those heathens, just imagine how impressive that statue would be if it was as powerful as Claude or as powerful as ChatGPT or as powerful as Grok. And so this is a very scary, unprecedented time in the history of our species where not only are we led by weak men, but we're led by weak men who are building what they believe to be a perfect God. And not only are they building this perfect God, which is in fact very imperfect, but they're building it so that they can own it. And not only are they so naive as to believe that they can own it, but they're totally disregarding the fact that as soon as they build it, it will be taken from them and hijacked by this superpower that is the deep state. And keep in mind, folks, that the definition of God, the scientific academic definition of God, whether you're Christian or not Christian, just God in general, is that which is this intelligent entity which is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent, right? It's all-knowing, it's all-powerful, and it's everywhere. And between the Golden Dome and the data centers, we have this omnipresent factor, right? It's literally everywhere. It can see anything. It can interpret anything. It can spy on anything. It's omniscient and that's all-knowing. It has the sum of all human knowledge and the ability to reason and determine and come to new conclusions based off of the existing knowledge that it has and its existing understanding. So it's all-knowing and it's everywhere. And it's going to be controlled by the deep state of the United States of America. So it has just unlimited funding and power. I mean, we are creating a false God. And God, if God was offended by the Tower of Babel, the attempt of people to come together and build a tower that could reach the heavens, if he was so offended that in response to that, he decided to scatter the peoples across the world and make it so that they could not understand each other's language and divide them. By the way, that's something that artificial intelligence totally overcomes. The punishment for the Tower of Babel is being totally overcome by our innovations. Everything the technocrats try to do is an attempt to innovate or develop a technology to overcome some punishment of God. Whether it's the transhumanists who are trying to overcome God's punishment of death upon us, right? Or whether it's the technocrats who are trying to overcome God's demand that we will work by the sweat of our brow after we ate from the tree of the fruit of knowledge. Or whether it's the technocrats who are trying to develop technology that overcomes God's punishment for what happened with the Tower of Babel. I mean, you look at everything that our civilization is doing. It's breaking all of the 10 Commandments. It's trying to innovate its way, find loopholes around God's punishment for us.